The first time I lied to my followers, I told myself it was harmless, but that tiny deception was the seed of everything that destroyed me. Emily said, "I thought one product post wouldn't matter." The glow of my phone screen felt like fire against my skin as I hit publish. The likes exploded, each heart a rush that numbed my guilt. I whispered to myself, "They're not following me, they're following her." The girl with the glossy hair and perfect smile wasn't me. She was a ghost I stitched together out of filters and fear. I had created her because the real Emily was too plain, too scared, too invisible. Mark, my manager, said, "Nobody wants reality. They want the dream." His words stuck like glass in my throat. I laughed on screen, but cried in silence. Rachel, my so-called friend, leaned close and said, "You've made it. Don't ruin it with honesty." But each post was another mask layered on my face. My fans cheered, "We love you, Emily." Their voices rang like an anthem, but in my chest it sounded like a death sentence. I told myself this was success, yet I felt my soul slip further away. The first lie should have been the last. Instead, it became the foundation of my empire, one built on sand, one destined to collapse. The world saw me as polished perfection, but my mirror showed a stranger. Emily said, "They don't even know me." I would wake with dread, already exhausted by the mask I had to wear. The flawless feeds, the glowing captions, all crafted lies. The silence between uploads was unbearable, each pause a threat to my empire. My heart raced, as if I was being hunted by my own shadow. Mark reminded me daily, consistency is survival. His words pressed like chains. Rachel would say, "You're living the dream," but her smile flickered with envy. I felt more imprisoned than free. The likes that once felt like love began to feel like demands, claws digging into my skin. Fans would comment, "Stay perfect," and I nodded behind a screen I wanted to smash. The ghost of the girl I used to be whispered from deep inside, but I drowned her voice with more lies. The emptiness of applause echoed louder than silence. Every photo I posted felt like carving another piece off myself to feed the crowd. I smiled, but the hollowness only deepened. The first brand deal was supposed to be small, just a skincare product I never even opened. Emily said, "No one will notice." But I noticed. The guilt clung to me, sticky and sour. Mark cheered, "It's easy money." He pushed me to smile wider, hold the bottle higher, lie cleaner. I stared at the camera, pretending the serum was my miracle, while my skin burned from anxiety. Rachel teased, "Relax, everyone fakes it." Her laughter felt sharp. The fans wrote, "You're glowing, what's your secret?" My stomach twisted. I whispered, "A lie." But the more they praised, the deeper I sank. That one harmless post unlocked doors to bigger deals, more lies, heavier masks. My hand shook as I signed contracts, but I smiled for the photo. I told myself I was still in control, but the truth was slipping away with every click. The bottle wasn't just a product. It was my first betrayal. Before the fame, I was invisible. Emily said, "No one even noticed me." I scrolled through perfect lives online, dreaming of being seen. When I posted my first picture, it was awkward and grainy. But the tiny spark of attention lit a fire I couldn't put out. The crowd was small, but their words felt like sunlight. They said, "You're beautiful." And for the first time I believed them. The compliments grew addictive. Rachel said, "You're finally getting what you deserve." Mark saw opportunity where I saw validation. He whispered, "We can build an empire." And so we did. But with every milestone, the pressure grew. The ghost of my old self watched, silent, fading further with each like. I was rising but already losing pieces of myself. I didn't know then that the higher I climbed, the harder the fall would be. The first cracks were invisible to everyone but me. Emily said, "It's all fine." But my smile trembled when no one watched. The fans demanded more, louder, brighter. Mark said, "Keep feeding them." Rachel urged, "Don't stop now." I nodded, but inside, I was screaming. The ghost whispered, "You're disappearing." Each post felt like another lie carved into my skin. The applause grew, but so did the emptiness. At night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, afraid the mask would slip. My empire stood tall, but the foundation was dust. I knew it would all collapse, yet I couldn't stop. The first lie had become 1,000, and the weight was unbearable. Emily said, "They don't follow me, they follow her." I sat in silence, staring at the glowing screen, feeling emptier with every scroll. The love pouring in was not for me, but for the mask I wore. I was adored for a lie. Mark reminded me, "They want perfection, not honesty." His words felt like chains tightening around my ribs. I forced smiles, lips trembling, while my eyes begged for release. Rachel whispered, "Don't throw this away, Emily, you'll regret it." I nodded, but inside I was breaking. The applause of millions was deafening, yet my heart was hollow. I lay awake at night, wondering if anyone would love me without the filters. Fans screamed, "You inspire us," but I whispered back, "You don't even know me." Each comment was a dagger, slicing deeper into the truth I hid. My ghost self clawed at me, begging for recognition. I longed for a single genuine touch, a real word, a friend who loved me without the facade. But the mask had fused with my skin, and the real me was fading. The silence between uploads haunted me. Emily said, "If I stop, they'll forget me." I felt the pressure in my chest like a vice. Mark insisted, "Consistency is survival." His eyes burned with urgency. I obeyed, posting, smiling, pretending. Rachel smiled weakly, "You're living the dream," but I saw her envy flicker. The comments were endless. "Where are you, Emily? We need you." I wanted to scream, "I need me." The weight of expectations crushed every thought. I couldn't rest. Every meal, every moment had to be content. My life became staged, my laughter rehearsed. I was a puppet to an audience that demanded more. My ghost whispered, "What about me?" But I drowned her out with another post. I thought likes meant love, but it was addiction. The silence was unbearable, not because I feared being forgotten, but because it was the only time I heard myself. And I hated what I heard. Every time I looked at my reflection, I saw the mask instead of me. Emily said, "She's everywhere, even in my mirror." The flawless persona smiled back, mocking my hollow eyes. Mark said, "Don't let them see weakness." He polished my image like I was a product. Rachel said softly, "I miss the real you," but her voice cracked, unsure if she meant it. Fans cheered, "You're perfect." I whispered, "I'm a lie." My ghost self stared from the shadows of my memory, begging for air. The more I played the role, the more she faded. I laughed on camera, cried off it. I didn't know which version of me was real anymore. The crowd's demands rewrote my identity. I wasn't Emily, I was an illusion in designer clothes. The truth terrified me. The mask wasn't slipping, it was swallowing me whole. Even surrounded by millions, I was alone. Emily said, "Why does adoration feel like isolation?" The crowd adored me, but no one touched me, no one knew me. Mark urged, "Stay connected, always respond." His words kept me chained to the endless feed. Rachel smiled. "At least you're never lonely," but her voice was brittle. The truth was, I had never been lonelier. My fans flooded my screen with hearts and fire emojis, their voices rising in digital chorus. Yet, I sat in silence, the room cold and empty. I longed for one real voice, one genuine presence. My ghost whispered, "You've traded warmth for applause." I curled into myself, phone clutched like a lifeline that was killing me. The noise of the crowd was deafening, but the silence between us was unbearable. I realized love from strangers could never replace love from myself, and I didn't even know if I loved me anymore. The emotional weight crushed me daily. Emily said, I'm loved for who I'm not. Each cheer from fans felt like nails in a coffin I built. Mark insisted, this is what you wanted, but I wondered if he ever saw me as human. Rachel murmured, you don't look happy anymore. I forced a smile, but inside I was unraveling. My ghost self clawed at my chest, whispering truths I refused to hear. I stared at the empire of lies, terrified of losing it, yet desperate to escape it. I wanted someone to love Emily, not the mask, not the brand. But the crowd's love was conditional. Their voices said, stay perfect, stay ours. My voice trembled back, I can't. The hollowness grew, filling me like poison. I was drowning in applause, unable to breathe. The emotional anchor wasn't love. It was a chain dragging me deeper into despair. Emily said, I'm not a person to them, I'm a product. Mark's voice was sharp, do what I tell you, and you'll stay on top. He shoved contracts across the table, each line demanding more of my soul. I wanted to refuse, but his eyes pinned me down like nails. Rachel muttered, maybe you should slow down, but her words were drowned by the clink of Mark's pen. My hands trembled as I signed, my signature staining paper like blood. Fans cheered louder than ever, blind to the weight crushing me. My ghost whispered, you're selling yourself piece by piece. Every deal chained me tighter to an image I no longer control. I smiled for cameras, but inside I screamed. I wasn't Emily anymore. I was a commodity, sculpted and sold by others. And the worst part, I let it happen. The brand deals multiplied, each one more toxic than the last. Emily said, I don't even use this garbage. Still, I posed holding products I despise. Mark barked, smile bigger, they need to believe you. Rachel laughed bitterly, everyone fakes it, why not you? I forced a grin, my stomach twisting as I pressed post. The fans shouted, you're glowing, you're flawless. Their praise was poison, each comment a reminder of my betrayal. My ghost hissed, every click is a lie. I felt my body recoil each time I hit upload, yet I couldn't stop. Money poured in, but so did shame. My empire was growing, but so were the cracks. I wondered if anyone saw the desperation behind my eyes. The truth was clear. My fame was built on products I would never touch, lies I could never erase. The fans demanded perfection like wolves, circling prey. Emily said, if I falter, they'll devour me. Comments screamed, stay flawless, don't disappoint us. My chest tightened as if each word was a blade. Mark told me, never show weakness, never stop. His tone was iron. Rachel said softly, maybe they love you too much. But I saw the envy flicker in her eyes. My ghost whispered, they don't love you. They love the mask. I painted smiles, posed endlessly, desperate to stay adored. Yet every demand drained me. I longed for freedom, but the leash of expectation yanked tighter. Even silence became dangerous. The fans who once cheered now turned vicious if I delayed. I realized they didn't want me. They wanted a flawless machine. And I was breaking. Then came Olivia, my rival. She thrived on my cracks, mocking me with every post. Emily said, she's waiting for me to fall. Olivia sneered online, perfection isn't her thing. My fans gasped, feeding the fire. Mark said, ignore her, focus on your brand, but his tone was shaky. Rachel smirked, she's not wrong. My ghost whispered, she sees what you hide. Olivia's posts mirrored mine, but sharper, cleaner, stronger. Each like she stole from me cut deeper. I felt the mask slipping, the edges fraying under her glare. The crowd began to whisper, to compare, to doubt. I was no longer untouchable. Olivia smiled like a vulture circling a dying animal. And I realized I wasn't just fighting myself anymore. I was fighting someone eager to bury me. The secrets began to spill. Emily said, I can't keep all the lies straight. Rumors spread like wildfire. Photos leaked, showing truths I never wanted exposed. Fans gasped, "Is this who she really is?" Mark growled, "Control the narrative." Rachel whispered, "Maybe it's time they knew." My ghost said, "Let it all out." But fear locked my jaw. I scrambled, posting smiles while chaos brewed beneath. Every DM felt like a ticking bomb, every message a threat. Olivia fanned the flames, posting cryptic jabs, her followers laughing at my expense. The walls of my empire shook, the foundation cracking. I realized I couldn't cover it forever. The lies were bigger than me now, and they were eating me alive. The betrayal didn't come from strangers, it came from Rachel. Emily said, "You were the one I trusted most." But Rachel leaked the screenshots, messages meant for her eyes only. My chest cracked open with disbelief. She whispered, "I never meant for it to get this far," but her eyes revealed guilt sharpened by jealousy. Mark barked, "You fool, now they have ammunition." My fans swarmed like bees, stinging with accusations. "She's fake, she's a liar." My ghost murmured, "She showed them the truth you refused to face." Rachel's betrayal wasn't just a knife in my back. It was the spotlight on everything I hid. I couldn't hate her, because deep down, I knew she had only set free the secrets I buried. But forgiveness was impossible. The friend I once leaned on had become the reason my empire began to collapse. The illusion shattered when my staged photos were exposed. Emily said, "They know it was all a setup." Behind the scenes shots surfaced, showing perfect angles, lighting crews, and props. The fans shouted, "You lied to us." Mark clenched his jaw. "We can spin this, say everyone does it." His words sounded hollow. Rachel whispered, "Maybe honesty is your only way out now." My ghost sneered, "You've been playing dress-up with their lives." Each repost of those leaked images was another nail in the coffin. I stared at my glossy feed, the perfect fantasy now exposed as fraud. My stomach twisted, knowing I wasn't just losing followers, I was losing myself. The mask was no longer convincing, and the crowd demanded blood. The ugliest twist was learning my family had orchestrated so much of it. Emily said, "You pushed me into this life." Old contracts revealed signatures not my own, deals arranged without my consent. My parents had seen me as prophet, not daughter. Mark admitted, "They wanted this for you, long before I did." Rachel whispered, "I thought you knew." My ghost hissed, "They built the mask, before you even wore it." I felt like a puppet, strings tied long before I knew they existed. My childhood memories twisted with betrayal. Every word of support now tasting like manipulation. The empire wasn't mine, it was theirs, and I was just the doll they paraded for validation. The crowd turned into a mob. Emily said, "They adored me yesterday, now they want me gone." Hashtags trended with my name twisted into curses. Comments screamed, "Cancel her." My heart pounded as notifications erupted like gunfire. Mark roared, "Shut it down, deactivate everything," but the tide was too strong. Rachel cried, "They're tearing you apart." My ghost whispered, "You fed them lies, now they feast on truth." Every video, every picture became evidence of betrayal. Olivia laughed online, her posts dripping with venom. Perfection was never hers to keep. The mob didn't want apologies, they wanted destruction. And I could feel them clawing at the walls of my carefully built empire, until nothing remained. Then came the cruelest twist, realizing the girl they adored never even existed. Emily said, "She was never me." The influencer they loved was a ghost stitched together from lies, filters, and fear. Mark muttered, "The brand is gone," his voice hollow. Rachel whispered, "Who are you without her?" My ghost stepped forward, whispering louder than ever, "I am the one they buried." The truth hit like lightning. I was living as a stranger, a mask crafted so carefully that even I believed in her. Fans screamed, "We don't know you." They were right. I didn't know me either. The twist wasn't just that my empire was collapsing, it was that the person they mourned was never alive to begin with. The storm of cancellation roared louder than my heart could bear. Emily whispered, "This is the end I always feared." My phone blazed with trending hashtags that cursed my name. Every post another strike of lightning. Olivia mocked me with cruel precision, her flawless smile cutting deeper than any insult. Mark shouted, "We can fix this!" But his trembling hands betrayed panic, his voice hollow. Rachel sobbed, "They're tearing you apart, Emily." Yet even her tears felt like betrayal in disguise. My ghost whispered, "They are only saying aloud what you already knew." Headlines dissected me like an autopsy report, every detail dragged into the open. Olivia's laughter echoed, her victory sharpened by my destruction. I smashed my phone to the floor, but the voices still rang inside me, relentless and cold. The empire I built wasn't falling quietly. It was crumbling with fire, fury, and spectacle. Emily whispered, "I built this prison and now I'm crushed beneath it." The knife twisted deepest when Rachel's betrayal bled into the world. Emily said, "You gave them everything I trusted you with." Private videos and voice notes leaked. The words I spoke in whispered fear now broadcast as weapons. Rachel sobbed, "I never wanted this to happen," but her voice cracked with guilt too heavy to forgive. Mark roared, "She ruined everything," pacing like a caged predator. I stood silent, drowning in betrayal more painful than hate. The fans screamed, "Two-faced liar," each word stabbing deeper into my skin. My ghost whispered, "She exposed the truth you were too weak to reveal." Trust shattered like glass, and each shard sliced me as I remembered her smile. Rachel's eyes were filled with regret, but regret couldn't repair a wound this deep. I whispered, "You weren't supposed to be my enemy." My chest hollowed, my faith in friendship gone, replaced by the certainty that I stood utterly alone. Olivia struck hardest when my defenses collapsed. Emily whispered, "She's feeding on my death." Her slick videos painted me as weak, fake, irrelevant, while her followers cheered her rise. Mark muttered, "She's replacing you," his voice cracked with surrender. Rachel whispered, "She always wanted to be you," and her words clanged like a funeral bell. My ghost sneered, "Now she wears the crown you never deserved." Olivia's empire thrived on my ashes, every like stolen from me, every laugh echoing my humiliation. I watched her mirror my brand but sharpen it into perfection, mocking me with her flawless performance. Fans flocked to her, abandoning me as if I were a bad memory. Each comparison between us ripped me wider. I whispered, "She didn't wait for me to fall, she pushed me." And the cruelest part was knowing she would shine brighter with every piece of me that broke. Rage finally erupted from the hollow place inside me. Emily screamed, "I can't take it anymore." My phone shattered against the wall, glass exploding like fireworks of despair. Mark shouted, "Calm down," but his voice poured gasoline on my fury. Rachel cried, "Stop, you're scaring me," her words breaking but powerless. My fans still shouted online, voices sharp as knives, demanding blood. Olivia mocked me with another flawless post, her smirk tightening the chains around my throat. My ghost whispered, "Let it all burn." I tore down posters, smashed mirrors, ripped clothes from racks, destroying every reflection of the mask I once worshipped. My chest heaved, my screams choked into sobs, my hands trembling with exhaustion. The room fell silent, destruction scattered around me like ashes. Emily whispered, "I am not her, I never was." Then came the silence that broke me. Emily whispered, "The cancellation didn't destroy me. The silence did." Notifications slowed, voices vanished, the storm collapsed into emptiness. Mark muttered, "It's over," his words blunt as a death toll. Rachel whispered, "I'm sorry," but sorrow was too late, too thin to fill the void. Olivia thrived, her fame rising like a phoenix born from my ashes, while I sat invisible, irrelevant, forgotten. My ghost whispered, "This is the freedom you begged for." But freedom didn't feel like life. It felt like death. The fans who once screamed for me no longer cared if I breathed. The mask was gone, the empire erased, but so was their love. Emily whispered, "The worst punishment isn't hate, it's being invisible again." And the silence wrapped around me like a shroud. The empire was rubble, but I was still breathing. Emily whispered, "Everything is gone, yet I remain." The shattered phones, broken mirrors, and discarded products surrounded me like corpses. Mark sighed. "No brand will touch you now," his tone drained of anger, reduced to emptiness. Rachel whispered, "I never wanted this to end like this," but guilt dripped from her like blood. The fans had vanished, the silence louder than their screams. My ghost whispered, "This is the price of masks." I stared into cracked glass, seeing both the influencer and the broken girl staring back. For the first time, I didn't look away. I whispered, maybe she deserved to die so I could live. The collapse hadn't killed me, it had stripped me raw. And the rawness, though painful, was real. Then I met the ghost I buried. Emily whispered, "I see you now." The reflection in the cracked mirror wasn't glamorous. It was raw, imperfect, alive. My ghost whispered, "I never left you. You abandoned me." Mark stood powerless. The weight of his control dissolved. Rachel sat silently, her tears no longer reaching me. My chest ached, knowing I had sacrificed this fragile version of myself for empty applause. The ghost asked, "Will you finally love me?" Her eyes looked like mine, but purer, unbroken by filters. I didn't answer, but for once, I didn't look away either. I whispered, "I'll try." And for the first time, my reflection didn't mock me. The choice was suffocating: wear the mask again, or let it burn. Emily whispered, "Do I end her, or end me?" Mark urged, "We can rebuild, you just need to play along." But his words fell flat, lifeless. Rachel murmured, "You deserve to be real," her voice trembling with sincerity. My ghost whispered, "Choose me, not her." The phone still glowed, contracts waiting, brands ready to pull me back into the cage. My hands hovered, trembling over the screen. I knew the world would forgive if I lied again. Fame could return in seconds. But I hesitated, not with fear but with choice. I whispered, "I'm not her anymore." The mask was suffocating, but the truth was terrifying. Only one could survive. And for the first time, I knew who I wanted it to be. Rachel came back, broken by regret. Emily whispered, "Why now?" Rachel sobbed, "Because I destroyed you." Her hands reached for mine, but the trust had burned to ash. Mark stood by the window, silent, powerless for the first time. My ghost murmured, "She's sorry, but can you forgive?" My chest clenched, torn between fury and sorrow. Rachel cried. I wanted to be seen too, her confession more haunting than her betrayal. I whispered, "You envied what I hated." The silence between us said more than her tears. I could not forgive. Not now. Maybe never. But for the first time, I didn't feel the urge to please her. My voice was mine again. Acceptance arrived slowly, like light bleeding through storm clouds. Emily whispered, "The cost was everything, but at least I see myself again." The crowd was gone, the brand dead, but the mask had shattered. Mark muttered, "It's over," before walking away into silence. Rachel stayed, but her eyes carried guilt heavier than words. My ghost whispered, "Now you can begin." I stared into the mirror. No lights, no filters, no audience, just me, fragile, imperfect, and real. The scars of lies clung to me, but so did the rawness of truth. I whispered, "I don't need to be remembered. I just need to be me." It wasn't healing, not yet, but it was freedom. Reflection was all I had left. Emily whispered, "I see clearly now." The empire was ash, but I remain. Mark said, "There's nothing left," his voice hollow. Rachel murmured, "You deserve peace," her words trembling with guilt. My ghost whispered, "You've bled enough, now you can be real." For the first time, I stood before the mirror without makeup, filters, or lights. The face was weary but mine. I whispered, I survived. Fragile, imperfect, alive. The last interaction with fans was bitter. Emily whispered, "You love someone who never existed." I opened my feed one final time, scrolling through pleas and curses. Mark warned, "If you vanish, you'll be nothing." Rachel whispered, "Maybe that's the point." My ghost said, "They don't need you, but you need you." With shaking hands I typed, "I'm not her. I never was." For once, it wasn't performance, it was truth. Then came goodbye. Emily whispered, "This is the end of her." I pressed delete, and years of lies vanished with a single click. Mark shouted, "This is suicide," but his voice no longer bound me. Rachel cried, "Don't disappear." But she didn't stop me. My ghost whispered, "Let her die so you can live." Millions of followers erased. Silence filled the room, not heavy, but freeing. I whispered, "I am finally empty." The final confession came soft as a prayer. Emily whispered, "I thought I wanted to be remembered, but I just want to be real." Rachel lowered her head, guilt heavy. Mark was gone, chasing another puppet. My ghost smiled faintly, no longer bound, no longer silent. For the first time, silence wasn't punishment. It was peace. Emily whispered, "I am me." The last 10 seconds carved themselves into eternity. Emily whispered, "And that's why you'll never see me online again." Rachel gasped softly. Mark was gone, his silence final. My ghost whispered, "You are free now." The stillness that followed was endless, holy. The influencer was dead. Emily remained, and the world faded.